Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. Uh, I'm never going to do that again. I promise. This is Aaron the Pedantic, and today I'm going to do something I don't normally do. Today, I'm going to tell you that you're playing the game wrong. Power gaming is bad, wrong fun for any table that is not geared for power gaming. But first, we have to identify what exactly power gaming is, or we're going to argue about it relentlessly and not get anywhere. So, I'm going to put a definition on the screen. Power gaming is when you create characters for the purpose of exploiting certain mechanics. It is the esoteric quality that distinguishes smart play from power gaming. Esoteric meaning hidden knowledge. You don't use basic logic to do cool things, you use your studied understanding of the game engine. Power gaming requires a legalistic understanding of a game system. It's a series of if then clauses all built to create a particular outcome. For instance, power gamers will choose a Grave Cleric fighter to combine Channel Divinity with Action Surge. This way, they can cast their most powerful spell at double the effectiveness in one round. Smart play, conversely, merely requires a basic understanding of the system and an organic application of logic. Smart players, for instance, will ask the Grave Cleric to wait until the moment the strongest ally is about to strike to curse the creature. With power gaming, you'll see that verisimilitude of the game world occasionally has to yield to the legalistic interpretation of the rules. With smart play, it's the opposite. The verisimilitude of the game world supersedes the letter of the law, resulting in play that is more fluid. The reason that power gaming is bad, wrong fun is because it relies on the idea that interpreting the letter of the law will be rewarded. By instead siding with verisimilitude, the game master would be defying the very purpose that the player designed their character to fulfill. If a player creates a character explicitly to be able to kill retreating or partially covered enemies, and I nerf the sharpshooter feat, I've undermined the entire reason that character was made. By siding with the letter of the law, the game master is sending the message that system mastery is paramount. The game becomes an arms race. The game master is in an ever escalating war with the players just to have the means to offer a decent challenge. The players, in turn, end up at odds with one another. The specialist power gamer renders all others who attempt to have the same utility obsolete. I've seen specialist power gamers consistently thwart other players' attempts at engaging in different modes of play simply because the power gamer would not be able to do his cool thing if they did anything else. The generalist power gamer finds that all situations are improved with his or her aid, and likely must exercise restraint to avoid becoming a pest. The player having a little something for every occasion can steal the thunder of other characters, especially in games where resources are not being challenged enough. I've watched as players gave in to boredom, as a single player had the solution for every single challenge that they faced. This does not even account for the quarrels that erupt over interpretations of the rules. Giving up precious game time arguing over rules interpretations is primarily a power gamer problem. For power gamers, they have much to lose if a game master overrules their interpretations. If it turns out that the power gamers built their characters in ways that don't function like they intended, they may be stuck with what they would consider to be undesirable characters for a long time. If the game master gives in to the power gamer's incorrect or undesirable interpretations, it can have a profound negative impact on the other players. They may have found easily abusable exploits that remove every ounce of challenge. This can give a single player all the dopamine hits he can handle, while the rest are left bored. We aren't even accounting for the fact that the game master dealing with a power gamer must attempt to stay up to date on all of the latest builds in order to understand how they function. Game masters are already engaged in constantly world building, increasing their understandings of procedures, and trying to ensure that they have ways of engaging and challenging their players. The added dimension of expecting the game master to stay up to date with the ever expanding player options and understanding how they work at the table is often too much. It's necessary for them to do so because players often look at what their abilities let them do, but forget that the restrictions the abilities have on them exist. There are few things more frustrating than a player setting up a plan, realizing it won't work because they misunderstood the rules, and then getting a do-over because their character would have known better, so they wouldn't have failed so hard to begin with. For some, this legalistic way of playing the game is desirable. I encourage people who enjoy this play to seek each other out and play together. But don't expect the game master or your fellow players to like what you're doing. So, why do players have the desire to be power gamers? I would pin most of the blame on the desire for players to engage in lonely fun. Lonely fun is how we engage with the hobby when we're not playing the game. For game masters, lonely fun includes world building, learning new procedures, preparing modules, and discussing game philosophy. I can't speak today. For players, there are far less avenues they can pursue lonely fun with a hobby. They can read their books, they can create art, they can write backstories, they can build characters. The desire for players to be able to continue enjoying their hobby outside the game time is completely understandable. The issue is that their lonely fun sometimes becomes disruptive. Their desires to create elaborate backstories without consideration of the setting leads to characters not fitting in with parties, or sometimes with the world. And the desire to character build leads to the players being two-dimensional in how they play the game. Rather than playing a character, they play a series of features. If you want to avoid becoming a power gamer, here's all you have to do. Don't plan any builds. Instead, come up with a theme. Pick things that fit that theme. Don't even concern yourselves with the mechanics. Once you're done putting the character together, then try to understand the mechanics of the character. Any fantastic combinations that you end up putting together from that point should be completely incidental. Above all else, you focus on playing the character and playing your role within the context of the party. The mechanics aren't even a tool for you to exploit. They are the physics of the world.